Okay.
So I met Janice about in 2009. For the first time when I came to UK to complete my practitioner's MetaHealth course, Meta Medicine. It was called Meta Medicine then.
Yeah.
We met in this beautiful university, which was literally like a dream come true. Because all my life I dreamt that I'm traveling in a train. The train stops. I get down from the train and I walk into a premise which is full of paintings. Paintings are coming out and they all look like British people. They're coming out of the paintings. We're sitting together, eating our dinner, eating our lunch. And then I say goodbye to all of them. And I go back into my train and I sit down. And that's the end of the dream. It was exactly like that. So Janice knows what I'm talking about. The university was full of these paintings. We did sit down in the dining hall right there and eat our food. And we did go back. That got me thinking, if there is a past life, then I must have spent that over there. If it is this life, then this is my spiritual family, which means a lot to me. Janice
Bless you.
and I got drunk. Actually, Janice didn't get drunk. I got drunk. And I even had rescue along with it. So we tried everything, rescue, was it red wine or white wine? I don't remember. Was it beer? And then in that drunk state, I was saying, what? And she was saying, what?
Yeah.
We spent about 2 hours just doing this. She was going to teach me how to say what. I still haven't learned it. And I went on with my Indian what?
Brilliant.
Like, Anu, it's not like that. Okay, how is it?
Absolutely.
These are the times that mean so much to me more than anything else. I've never visited a country just to study.
No. That's
I
brilliant.
visited countries to connect.
Definitely.
And I'm going to say something a little bit more here. I saw Janice one day morning when I got up from my bed. I saw Janice standing in the garden with her partner. And that was the most beautiful sight that I've ever seen. A partner then.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for accepting my invite.
More than happy, Anu. And I'd forgotten about the what's with my very southern London accent. We had such a laugh about that, and isn't that glorious, having fun with our accents? And it's just sharing, isn't it, from different parts of the world where we were born and where we come from. And I just love it. It was a lovely celebration, and I felt very connected to you as soon as we met. So yeah, we need to connect more. And it's my pleasure coming on here today. Absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And so I don't connect with you with blood, but I do connect with you at a level that even my blood relations don't connect to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bless you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the same. I mean, we had such a intense course. It was lovely. We had some lovely bonding there, and that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And here and now today.
Some people I never met again. Some people I met again, and some people I met again and again. And you're one of them who I met again and again.
Yeah. We just keep coming into each other's lives when it's right, and that's great, isn't it? And that's what friendships are about, aren't they? They're about, if we don't see each other for a while, it's okay, because we're doing other things and we've got another different aspects of our life going on, and then we get back together and see each other, and it's just the same as it always is. And I think that's a really important thing.
Just like my dream.
Yeah.
So I'll leave the forum to you right now.
Okay.
In about 40-45 minutes or 1 hour, you can do your talk, and then we'll take a small break wherein I want to show people something very interesting. And then we will continue with question answers. So over to you, Janice.
So sorry, say that again, Anu. So
So for the next 1 hour, you can do what you want to do.
Right. Okay.
Then we'll take a 5-minute break, in the sense I will be showing people some videos that have been sent to me.
Right. Excellent.
And then we will go in for question answer session.
Lovely.
And then we will end it with the angel card reading, and that's where we'll end our meeting today.
Sounds beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so over to me then. Lovely. So lovely to meet you all, everybody. And as Anu said, it's been a privilege to come along and speak to you today. And actually, what Anu didn't say was that when we met on that course, I was struggling with grief a lot. It'd been a little while since I had lost my husband, but I was trying to find answers to my grief. And I can tell you now, Anu was a definite massive part in my journey to healing, really, my healing journey from the grief that I experienced. So today I'm going to be talking about grief and loss, and Anu was definitely a big part of that, and literally helped me with some energy work at the time as well. So I'm going to do a little, I've got some PowerPoints. Is that okay to share those with you guys? Absolutely. And then we'll do a little bit of tapping. Now, is everybody familiar with the tapping, Anu? Are we? Yeah,
most of them are familiar, but you could just take them through one round.
Yeah, I'll do that once
with me, with Penny, with Yasmina, but it's the new people all the time. So.
That's fine. So I'll do my little PowerPoint presentation around grief to start with, and then we'll do some lovely group tapping around some of the things that may or may not come up as we do. Yeah, brilliant. That's lovely. Thank you. So we'll do a little bit of group tapping around grief and possibly collective grief, which is really prominent, I'm sure, in your country at the moment and around the world at the moment. So I'll share with you my screen, if that's all right, and hopefully this will work, because my Apple has been a bit crazy recently, but hopefully it'll be okay. Is that okay? Can we see that, guys?
Yes, absolutely.
Lovely. Okay, that's great. So so we will be looking at grief and loss during this time of us all being on lockdown, which is very different in different countries around the world, actually. And everyone in different countries is experiencing it very differently, ranging from really minimal changes in life to, I can understand in India it's not minimal changes. It's a lot more serious, and there's a lot more stress. A lot of people in India, as I've been having a little look at. Okay, so just briefly, really briefly about me, just so that you get really quick, just so that you get an understanding of why I do grief. So I do EFT and Matrix as a practitioner and trainer. I run grief training courses and workshops because that's what I specialize in. Due to losing my husband, but also having a previous loss I'd never dealt with really, I found it a subject that was really close to my heart. So I felt that it was something that I could help people with. And that's why I've been specializing it for over 10 years now. And I've worked with hundreds of clients now with grief as well. So I'm just trying to, do some research around that and build up understandings of different experiences of grief and help those people. I do a few other therapies as well. I do have a master's in psychology research, so I do like to, look into different research and different ways people deal with grief and look at grief and what grief means to different people, cultures, generational grief coming down through the generations, collective grief, which we'll talk a little bit about as we go along. And in my, not literally in my private past life, but in my past career, I was a personal trainer. So I did a lot of exercise physiology up to a master's level as well. That's enough about me rabbiting on about me. Okay, so grief. It's a normal process. The reaction to a loss. The loss may be physical, such as death, It may be social, such as divorce, or it even may be occupational, such as a job. We can we can experience grief through lots of different losses, and I think that's really important at the moment. And we're going to be talking about that and hopefully helping you to understand and really clarify those different losses for you. And we have those emotional reactions to grief, which is really what I work with, you know, doing the tapping that I do. It's called emotional freedom technique for a reason, to help really release some of those emotions. So grief is a normal process. We all experience it. We all experience it differently, because we come into grief, if we experience a grief, we come into it with all of our life prior to that, and everybody's is going to be different. So whatever we come into grief with, it will have a reflection on our grief and how we come through that process. And that's really important. We can't just go, oh, it's grief, stuff, you know, everybody's really different and it affects everybody differently. And it's really important to be respectful for everybody's loss. And again, culturally, we experience grief differently. So there's so many different factors. So what is happening now, though, is we've got grieving process. People are losing people, either through the coronavirus, either through other illnesses and different aspects of dying that would be normally happening even if this wasn't going on. But we are all now in trauma because we've all been locked in, our freedom's been taken away. And I can't understand exactly how you guys must be feeling, because I know it's a lot harder for you, but I can respect it. And it's a lot of trauma going on for a lot of people. So we've got grief, maybe literally from bereavement going on, or the traumas and worries as well of what's actually happening at the moment, and all the different losses. So, you know, I did a webinar the other day, and one of the first slides I put up is, you know, be kind to yourself, and self-compassion and self-love and care is so important at the moment. And I'll go into that a little bit later, because of all of what's going on. It's easy to, you know, we know we're stressed when we're talking to our family or our friends, or it comes in waves, much like grief does. Yeah. So we're going to be looking at how we can help to come through this together as a group of human beings, which we all belong to. We're all one. We are all humans. I think another important part here I would like to mention, the trauma when we are, especially in something like lockdown, some people in quarantine, it's such a strain on, it's such a stress on us that we become more judgmental. And I was looking at a study the other day on how, not, you know, not everybody, but generally, if people are in the situation that we're all in at the moment, many more moral judgments can come in, and social attitudes towards people. And I don't know about you, but I'm not great on social media, but you can see people really getting heated with each other a lot more than they would be normally. A lot of people have got difference of opinion, and it's a lot more aggressive than it is normally. And that's another aspect of this, another part of the trauma that we go through. Okay, so how is it affecting people? To start with, grief is affecting us in the way it always has affected us. So your grieving experiences will be a normal process, but you've got that additional sort of stress response. And here are some of those added problems at the moment. More anxious, angry, scared. Many emotions are heightened. Not able to think clearly. I mean, I know for a fact that I'm definitely not thinking as clearly as I normally do about things, and sort of questioning things and double checking. And I'm sure you're all experiencing the what day is it? So not being able to think as clear. increase, and if you've got any pre-existing medical problems and mental health problems or physical health problems, they can be increased at this moment in time. So that's understandable. Confusion, and I don't know about you, but I keep getting confused about what I feel is going on, and just dynamics even within my household of lockdown. And it's stressing our immune systems, it's stressing our whole bodies. Frustration. Those of you families, I suspect there's some frustration going on in your households at the moment for all sorts of things, with your family members, with society at large, with the countries, the governments. There can be a lot of frustration really coming to the foreground, and exhaustion. Everybody I know at some point saying, I'm just exhausted, I'm just worn out. It's just a lot mentally and physically for us to be taken on board. So on top of our normal grieving process, we've got this extra going on as well. So that's why I always say, try and be really kind to yourselves, because our bodies are going through, our bodies, mind, soul, spirit is going through a lot at the moment. Okay. So specifically related to what's going on with the COVID-19 virus, coronavirus, our isolation, it's massive. We are social animals. We thrive being together and working together. Now, I'm not sure, Anu, I can't see the chats at the moment, so I'm hoping that I can just answer all the questions at the end if anybody's making any comments, okay? And that's what I'll do, as Anu was saying earlier. And also related to that lack of human contact, you know, with people that we're not with. And I know there's a lot of people that are not with their families, and they're starting to be relocated to be together again. But, you know, I'm not with, I've got an older daughter who's with her partner, and they've got a baby. So it's my first grandson, and I haven't seen him, and he's 9 months old now. And every time I sort of see him through social media and that, he's growing up really quick. And, you know, that's hard, isn't it? And I'm sure you've got family and friends and people that you just can't see. That human hug. Enormous amount of fears, I should imagine. We're going to go into that in a minute. And all the different types of losses. And remember, once I've done this little presentation, we're going to do something to help with this, okay? So, you know, I'm showing you all this stuff, but we're going to do some lovely tapping together afterwards. And again, problems on top of problems really there. And as well, with any of the different deaths that are occurring for you at the moment, it's this very difficult time. And with funeral arrangements, it's very hard. So, and particularly with death, people are worrying about perhaps their own death, deaths of loved one or loved ones through the virus, and other implications with the virus itself. So, for example, in our country, there's, you know, people's cancer operations are being delayed, and different aspects of what's going on with other illnesses during this time. And I'm sure it's equally very difficult for everybody over in India. Death of loved ones in hospitals where you're not allowed to visit. These are all difficult things to be dealing with. And our family and religious rituals and ceremonies that are not being able to happen at the moment, and attending funerals. This little quote is from C.S. Lewis, a very famous English writer, some lovely stuff. And he says, no, and he lost his wife. He said, no one ever told me that grief felt so much like fear. And I think that's very true. So what are our fears and losses? Catching the virus. What's happening in the world? Is there a bigger picture? Do we think other things are going on here? Uncertainty, what is going on? We don't know. When are we going to be out of this and back to what we regard as a healthy, happy lifestyle? And what's going to happen when we come out of all this lockdown? Some people are getting quiet, don't want to go out now in this country, that's for sure. We're missing celebrations with families. Loss of employment, financial problems is enormous. Changing relationships. And being mocked for your own views. Like I said, that whole moral judgment thing starts to shift and get a little bit more, you know, perhaps argumentative than it would have done. Loss of control is a massive one too, isn't it? Feeling you're not in control of your own life, what you're doing. and I think this is a massive one too, and we'll perhaps do a little bit of global tapping for this. Loss of freedom is enormous, isn't it? The lack of human contact, loss of the familiar. We've all got our routines, haven't we? I'm sure our routines can be very different, but some very similar. And that familiarity, that sameness that we do each week that's gone, it's that loss of that. Fears for the future. So these are some examples. So, you know, if you've got a pen or paper there and you just want to, I mean, this is, I've just put some down, but if you want to know some of the fears and losses that you've got, when we do some tapping at the end, then we can, you can use that specifically for you. So, you know, have a little think. Is any of those particularly jumping out at you, as in, you know, really, yes, that is one that really seems to be affecting me? I think we could probably all say a lot of them are affecting us, but is there any particular that you think that really is worrying me more? If we write these down, then you can tap on those afterwards. Okay. So how is lockdown affecting you? How is it affecting you physically? Have a little think. Are you physically more tired? Are you aching more? Have you got a physical problem that seems to be worse at the moment? Just note some of those things down. A little think. How's your physical body feeling? And mentally, you know, let's have a think about your own situation, what your losses and fears are, as we looked at on the previous one. Is it you've actually lost somebody physically in bereavement? Is it that the loss of freedom that seems to be really hard for you at the moment? How is that affecting you mentally? What are your thoughts? Do they keep going round and round and worried about this thing, or I've lost somebody and it's really upsetting me because they're not here anymore? You know, that's part of grief, isn't it? That pain of grief. I always say to people, you know, if you know, if any of you guys there have lost people at the moment, friends, family, then, you know, the pain is so much, and the reason it's so painful is because you love them so much. If you didn't have that pain, how much did you love them? You know, so it's going to be painful, but it's how we deal with that, and tapping is a brilliant way to help with that, with our emotions. Yeah. What about emotionally? What are the feelings we've got? Have a little think. Are you getting angry? Are you getting sad? Are you feeling hopeless, helpless? Are you feeling you just don't understand what's going on? It's making you feel frustrated. Have a little think, and you can note those down as well if you want to. And I'm asking you to note them down, or at least try and remember some of these things, so that we can really specifically tap on those in a little while. And behaviourally, what are you, is there anything, and it may not be affecting all of these aspects of you, but behaviourally, are you acting different ways? I've worked with some clients recently that have got almost compulsive about doing things because they're quite fearful about, you know, how many times they have to wash their hands and things, because it's frightening that you know, that they're getting frightened of catching a disease or something. So they're all different behaviours that you may or may not be experiencing. And spiritually, how is this lockdown, any grief or loss you're experiencing, affecting you spiritually? Whether that's your religious beliefs or the wider spirituality, how is that affecting that? So have a little think about those things, and just see, some of you may be more of an emotional thing, some people may find it's more physical thing that's going on. So make a note of those things. I don't want to go into this long time because I want to get onto some tapping, but there are different types of grief, and it's quite interesting to have a look at those different types of grief. All of these in England and lots more are different types of grief that have been categorized. So that's a lot of different types of grief that we can experience, and a lot of them are interrelated. And personally, when I work with my clients, it's what my clients come through the door with that I work with. I don't try and put a label, but it's quite interesting, and sometimes it can help people to see. And the orange coloured ones are the ones that we'll be looking at a little bit here: the complicated grief, collective grief, anticipatory grief, prolonged grief, accumulative grief, exaggerated, and our secondary losses. So complicated grief is where we refer to grief reactions and feelings that last in a long time. Yeah, so complicated grief is where you've got grief on top of trauma and maybe on top of other unresolved losses, which I think could be a lot of us at the moment. Yeah, there's a lot of this trauma around, so I think that could be referring to a lot of us there. Collective grief, as I said earlier, that everybody's feeling a loss at the moment, or have actually experienced losing somebody, and we therefore have got this collective welled grief going on, and we can almost feel it. And we're going to do a little bit of tapping around that to start with. Collective groups such as communities, social societies, villages, or nations. Anticipatory grief, it's where we're expecting a loss. So if you have somebody who's been given a terminal diagnosis, then you know they're still with you, but that you've got that anticipatory grief. You know it's coming, and that's very hard to deal with. But we'll do some tapping as well. It's a reaction to a death you aren't able to anticipate. Okay, and that can be very prevalent at the moment. Prolonged grief, very similar to complicated grief. It's a grief that's going on. It's a normal process to grieve, and everybody's time of grieving is different. But if it's been going on a long time, or if this lockdown has really triggered you back into old grief, old losses, old fears. Okay, and I'll let you, you can keep these PowerPoints anyway. So accumulative grief, again, it's that grief overload, and we're having this overload anyway with the worries and fears and just the being all locked down. Exaggerated, it just becomes really exasperated for you. There's a lot of it's just explosive of grief. Yeah, really exaggerated. It may come out in different behaviors as well. And secondary loss, so you've lost somebody, then another loss of your freedom and loss of control, and it just, those losses add up. So if you look at those different types of losses, could you sort of say that you're aware of any particular ones? It's sometimes worth just what grief are you experiencing? It's not important. It's important to deal with how you feel, but sometimes it helps you to realize that actually what I'm experiencing is collective grief for what's going on with people in my country and around the world. Not my country. I don't own a country, by the way. Okay. Just clarify that. So self-care and compassion is really important. I've recently been studying how important compassion is and the difference between compassion and empathy, which I won't go into here. But so I've been doing a lot of studies on compassion and self-compassion. And it really helps with your immune system. It really helps with your mental health. It really helps you with your relationships. It really helps on so many different levels to have that self-compassion. It's not something that we are great at doing. Yeah, helping ourselves to be kind to ourselves. And this is why it's so important. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. So you know, if we listen to what the Dalai Lama says there, it's like, it's massive, isn't it? It's not a luxury to be compassionate. We need it to come through this. I really feel quite strongly about that, our compassion for ourselves and our compassion for others. So what do you do for your own self-care? And I know we're on lockdown, and I'm not, you know, it's the simplest of things that I'm talking about here. You know, just take that extra couple of minutes washing your face in the mornings, just that extra whatever it is, you know, just anything that can just lift your spirits a little. Yeah. And everyone's in a different situation here, so you know, it's whatever just is something loving towards yourself. Even just sitting down for 3 or 4 minutes longer than you perhaps were going to, so that you can just rest your body a little if you're aching a bit. Yeah, those sort of things. And then I'd like you to think about writing one positive sentence, or just a couple of words, about being compassionate to yourself. For example, I choose to find some peace within myself. I choose to know that I'm connected to all my family and friends. I choose to love those around me. Just something compassionate. And to yourself, I choose to just sit down and take some deep breaths, because we know those deep breaths can be so good for us. And we'll come to that with our tapping in a moment. Okay. So I'm going to say thank you here for listening to help you feel a bit better, to share in a lovely technique that's heartwarming to do together. And we'll start with a little bit of heart breathing. So thank you for that. These are just places where you can get hold of me, and they will show you, let you know if you do want to have a chat with me about anything. That's fine. I'm happy to talk to you guys. You know, it's really important that we're all connected at this moment in any ways we can be. And Anu, don't faint at this, but actually my book, it will be out later this year. I've been writing this for a long time. Longer than I anticipated, but there's been a few hiccups along the way, but it's last editing now, so I'm really pleased. That's my front cover of it, and it's for everybody. It's not for practitioners or anything, it's for everybody. So Joy Beyond Grief, a new understanding of grief with gentle and practical exercises to help you. So that's what we'll be doing. Okay, so I'm going to come back off the screen now and back to see that's better. All right, is that all back to me, is it, everybody?
Yes.
Excellent.
That was amazing. And I'm so
okay,
happy
so
that your book is going to be out. So happy.
Yes, so am I, Anu. So am I. It's been a long time. It's caused me quite a lot of grief in different ways itself, bless it. But it's everything's a process, isn't it? Like the grieving process, it's all a process. Okay, so I'm just having a quick little nosy at the chats, and then we're going to start doing some tapping as well. Yes, I can see. You know, thank you for putting some comments here. And yeah, it's finance for some of you, lots of rituals. Yeah, people getting judgmental. People are, yes, there's a lot of judgment going on, isn't there? You know, and it's trying to stand in our own peace and accept that we're all very, very different, which can be very difficult when we're stressed. Fear of losing jobs, absolutely. Yeah, more regular with my daily prayers, brilliant. These are lovely self-help things to do. I think people get hooked up on self-care's got to be this big thing. It's not. It's the smallest, most gentle things, you know, that are the real important self-love, self-care things. Yep, collective grief for some of you. I choose to believe I'm cared for by the universe. That is beautiful. Thank you for that one as well. Okay, so we're gonna when we come to Sana, I know that you've asked about losing a family member, which is absolutely so difficult to deal with, especially when it's so raw. Okay, and I'll answer some questions. We'll do the question bit if you come back to me then, and I'll ask how I'll give you some pointers and ways to help. But do remember, it is a process. And if you have lost somebody recently, it's very raw. It's very raw. Tapping can help with those emotions that come up. So you can tap with those emotions that come up. And I'll come back to that as well. So we're going to do some tapping together now. So if some of you are aware, I'm going to just go through the points. You can do it with me. It's a gentle process. It's an empowering process. If you've done it, you understand. If you haven't done it, it will seem a bit funny, a bit crazy. But it's working on the different energy systems of the body to really help your body to just come back to a gentle, balanced state and to clear some stuck, trapped emotions. So we're going to start by tapping on the side of the hand. Brilliant. Now, some of you may want to leave out the face points. I'm not sure, Anu, how you're feeling about that. I've been washing my hands and tapping on my face. Have you generally been doing anything, or just everybody's doing their own thing?
Same instructions that we've given on the matrix thing. Same instructions.
Okay, so absolutely. So so if you tap on your face, make sure you've washed your hands, and you can leave out different points around your nose and face if you want to, or you can leave out the whole face if you want to. And the next point is top of our head. And we're just going to go around this one round, and then we're going to start doing adding some words in with this as well. And the next point is by the eyebrow if you choose to. If not, you can come straight onto this point, side of the eye. And already I can feel myself calming down. I hope you too can as well. Lovely, yes. And I can see somebody tapping both sides. That's lovely. Yeah, some people do that. And under your eye. Lovely. And under your nose. Under your lip. And onto the collarbone. So it's just off your collarbone. So you've got your two clavicle here, those two knobbly bits there, just sort of drop off of them. Can you see me, guys? Am I in the right position there? Stand up a bit, get a bit taller for you. And under your arm. Lovely. Remember, nice one for children where we can do the monkey. That's always a good one. We have different animals sometimes when I'm tapping with little children, young people. That's quite a good. Yes, very nice. You still like that? Yes, so we can have a bit of fun on that one, can't we? Just lends itself for that, doesn't it? Okay. And onto the hand. Brilliant. So we just go on the thumb, just at the end, and the next one, and we do all the fingers. So we just go through all the fingers, and we call that one round of tapping. Okay, so let's have a nice deep breath in there all together, and out. Nice deep breath in. Okay, so what we're going to do today, we're going to start tapping for the collective grief. Grief that the whole world is experiencing, losses, the bigger loss, and we're just going to come in gently towards your own losses. Okay, so by doing this, we're doing something bigger than ourselves, but then we're going to come personal for you individually, so that you can get some beautiful help with this tapping and with all of us here together. Okay, so I'm going to set that our little statement. So we're going to tap here. Even though we're experiencing this global grief, this global lockdown, this global loss of freedom, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. even though we're all in this together, experiencing the global grief. I'm sure we've all lost somebody recently. Our loss of freedom as well, our loss of control. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though there's this global fear, what's happening? It's hard to understand. This loss of our freedom, this loss of our normality. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Good. And we've just gone to the top of the head. And guys, because I'm not with you, if you find you do get really upset, please just keep tapping, but almost perhaps switch me onto mute, but keep tapping and just look around your room. Look at some people, I can see got some lovely colours on their walls or pictures behind them. Just focus on something different. I don't want this to be an added upset to you, but it is emotional release, so you may have those emotions coming up, but please be responsible for yourselves here. Yeah. Yes. Okay, this global loss, all these fears. We're all experiencing some fears or another, aren't we? All these fears, all these losses of freedom, of loved ones, people we care about and love. All this loss, all this grief, all this upset, all this sadness, all this heartache. Just tap into, acknowledge it. Tapping for everybody here, not just us, the group on here, but bigger and bigger. All this loss, all these losses. Even things like missing our workouts, as somebody said, all this worry about money, all this worry about just going out in your little routines. And then there's bereavements as well. Okay, I want you to take a nice deep breath, everybody. Nice deep breath. Breathe in. Oh, fill those lungs and blow out. I can see 2 young people there as well. And breathe in. Actually, Anu, as I breathe out, I'm going to say this now. Do breathe out, everybody there. I'm going to say this now before I forget it. A very close colleague of mine has done some little tapping with a little animal friend, teeny little videos about having butterflies in the stomach and all different feelings. So I'll let you have that. I'll show you where people can get that, because it's quite nice for young children, just to help them through what's going on with this at the moment.
That would be brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll give you anything. And I've got the other thing I use is I wrote it myself because I quite like poetry, but I wrote a little tapping poem for little children as well. So that's something that I've used a lot in schools and with a lot of young people, and it's really helped little ones to actually get used to tapping, so that if something happens or has happened that's really quite traumatic or stressful, then they've got that little tapping poem that they can go to themselves, which is lovely. So I'll make sure Anu and you guys have all got access to that as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's do a little bit of personal tapping now. So I asked you earlier to have a little think about what's important for you. I know there's going to be a lot of things. So, well, the potential is quite a lot of things that we're lost at the moment. But pick something that you'd just like to focus on here today. And maybe not something, if you have recently really lost somebody in the last sort of week or so, that may be difficult to tap with now, but it's up to you. But, just think of a loss, something in your mind that you want to work with. Are we all okay? Have we all got something there? Give me a nod or a little thumbs up if we've all got something we're able to work on. Thank you. Got lots of thumbs up going. We have lots of waves and everything. That's brilliant. Okay, so we're just going to do it, and we're just going to see where it might be in the body and help just to clear it a little bit. This is 2 hours of your life, so it's not going to clear everything, but it's going to help you, and then you can go away and perhaps do some more work yourself. Okay, so even though, and I want you to say what your loss is, you can say it out loud or in your own mind, even though I'm experiencing whatever it is. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm experiencing a loss or whatever it is for you, say it out loud. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm experiencing this loss or fear, grief, whatever it is, say it out loud. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And the top of your head. And just say what that loss is now. Financial, freedom, whatever it is, just say the word as we go around the different points. Just say that word as we go around the different points. And just see. Do you know where that is in your body? Where that loss of freedom is? Where that loss of control is? Where that grief is? Can you feel it in your body anywhere? You can put it in the chat if you like, and we can share, or you can just carry on tapping, whatever feels right for you. Okay, so we might have it in somewhere different. Often in my throat. For me, it's often my throat. For me personally, my one is loss of being able to see my grandson, and it's I just want to with my hands as well. I want to hug him, you know. So in the chest, absolutely. A loss of self-identity. Thank you. I didn't even mention that one. That is enormous. Thank you. Absolutely. You know, who am I? What, you know, it's what am I? It could be associated with your work that you're not doing. It could be associated with just who you feel you are. Life seems very different at the moment, doesn't it? But we're all here collectively tapping. So tap on if it's in your throat. So if it's like loss of freedom in your throat, this loss of freedom in your throat, this loss of identity in your back or wherever it is, yeah, just say it. You might want to give it a colour. Throat feels quite dark purple for some reason, but it does. So I'm tapping on that dark purple, missing my grandson in my throat. What are you tapping on? Is it a colour? Is it a colour or a shape? This feels quite prickly in my throat, actually. It feels quite prickly, yes, and sadness. Loss of old, yes, lifestyle after your brother passed last month, yes, I can see. Yeah, absolutely. We lose somebody we love. We lose that person. When we say lose, it's difficult, isn't it? They're not lost. They've passed on. Whatever your spiritual beliefs are, whether they've gone somewhere else or, you know, they've moved on. For me, they've gone on to the next part of their journey. But it's hard when we haven't got that physical contact with them. And not only that, the person, but that lifestyle. You do things together. We are quite creatures of habit, aren't we? If we think about our normal daily routines. So just tapping on those feelings. Tapping on those feelings. And let's just tap to release some of that now. Let's just, in whatever way you want, release it out the top of your head, through your feet. Allow it just to come out through your skin. Just try and release some of that now. Just have that intention that you're going to let some of these feelings go. I'd like to, you know, anyone who has actually had a bereavement, we're not letting go of that person. We're letting go of some of the pain. We have a deeper connection when we can let go of some of the pain. So just be aware. There's a big difference. See if we can just might let it go in a breath. Just let some of it go. If we can just let a little bit of it go a little bit, we're doing ourselves a good job here today. Okay. Just allow ourselves to let that go. So as you tap on one point here now with me, just breathe in some love and release some pain or fear. Breathe in some love and let go of some pain and fear. or worries or whatever it is. Breathe in some love and let go of some pain and fear. Well done, everybody. You're doing brilliant. What a lovely group. This is such a delight working with you. Yes, and that's absolutely right, Lisa. Sometimes when we have a release, another thing's coming up. I would suggest you write that down for now, because we've only got this limited time. So write down if something else is coming up, because you can go and tap. You can tap once a day on something that's concerning you, and it'll be releasing a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Very positive thing to do. So if something else comes up, just allow yourselves to write that down now. And we're going to move on to a little bit of what I call positive tapping, just to finish this session before you have a little break. I want you to think of that positive sentence that you perhaps said about self-love for yourself. Did you write something down earlier? Or have you got something in your mind? Or you could follow what I'm going to say. I'm going to choose to feel some peace within myself. Some peace for myself and my family. I choose compassion over fear. I choose heart connection over loss. Have a positive sentence for you just to finish this with now. If you're happy with ones I'm using, use them, but if they don't feel right, use your own. Oh, I choose to feel peace for me, for my family, for my community, for everyone. Let's choose peace within our hearts. The more peace we have in our hearts, the higher our vibration will be to help each other. Some losses are bigger than others. Some losses are greater, but we're all experiencing it. So let's choose to have some love for ourselves here. Breathe in that love and compassion and breathe out those fears. Well done, everybody. Okay, let's stop that tapping now. Well done. Okay, so when you're ready, just let that tapping release. Okay, and if you want to share what your positive one is, you can share that. I'd be interested to see. Otherwise, you keep it to yourself. That's perfect too. Yeah, and you can build on that. So I'm finished with that part of the session, Anu. If we just check in with everybody's okay. Are we all in an okay place? I do like to just check that we are okay.
Could you all put it down in the chat? Yeah, okay. Just put it down on your chat if you're okay.
Lovely. Thank you, Lucille.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you.
If any of you need to work more, do let us know. Good job.
Well done, everybody. Well done. It's just that little taste. And it's something you can build on each day. Just if you tap on one fear or one worry or little aspect of it each day, you're just releasing a little bit more. And I think in these times, it's important to sort of finish with something like peace or love or kindness as well, to bring that in as well at the moment. I think that's positive. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. I am exceptionally bad with pronunciations. I'm going to get I'm going to have some private sessions with Anu to help me with your wonderful Indian name pronunciation. So I'm exceptionally bad. That's why I think I avoid it. There's something I need to tap on.
You've got to teach me how to say what.
Yes. We're still on the one word of what, practicing what.
Okay, so I'm going to ask each one of you to share. And yeah, let's not break the rhythm. Let's go with that first. So we'll start with Shushma ji. Shushma ji, can you unmute yourself and say how you're feeling? Thank you. Shushma ji, can you unmute yourself? Yes, I've unmuted you. You can
Shushma ji.
Shushma ji.
Shushma ji.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're fine.
I always thought grief is sadness. somehow I don't know the difference between sadness and grief.
Okay, yeah. You know, we experience grief, and part of that is sadness. So part of our grieving experience can be sadness, it can be anger, it can be guilt, it can be you can have lots of different feelings within grief, depending on what you've come into your grief with. And sadness is part of that. But we can have sadness for other things as well, that aren't specifically grief. We can have sadness that my daughter's gone to university. So although it is often related to a loss, it's a loss of that relationship being with my daughter, say, at home. It's like sadness is one feeling. It's one feeling. It can be very aching of the heart. It's very good to pull out the different feelings if you can within your grieving experience. So, you know, one day you might think this sadness. So tap on that sadness. And another day you might be just angry that person's gone, or, you know, those different feelings come up. So tap on each of those individual feelings. Okay. So sadness is within grief, but you can have sadness for other things.
Very good. Dr. Nivedita, you want to ask the question? Please go ahead.
Hey, no question. I just want to say thank you so much. It was a lovely session and we enjoyed it. And the kids want to say something. You want to say something?
I was missing my squash, but I am feeling great now. Thank you.
Bless you. Was that your squash you're missing?
Yes.
Yes, it's very difficult to be missing some food. And have you? Yes.
I was missing my badminton, but now I'm feeling great.
Oh, bless you. Bless you. And you know, and yes, I know, as I said, I used to do lots of training with people. And we're very lucky because we are allowed to go out and do some exercise. So it's very different for me. We're not having those restrictions that you've got. So, you know, bless you. And I'm thinking about you. And do you know what? If you think about yourself playing those games, if you think about yourself playing your squash, and you think about yourself playing badminton, when you can do them again, you'll be even better, because it's your brain getting that activity in your mind going. So imagine having a squash game in your head for a while, and that badminton, imagine it in your head. And then when you will be able to do it, hopefully as soon as possible, then you'll be even better than you was before. So thank you, and keep the tapping going. Well done.
Wonderful. Dr. Newton? Dr. Newton?
Yes, thank you so much, Anu. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. I tapped on self-doubt. And when I said I completely love and accept myself, today it was like really amazing. I had some pain in my back, but like towards end, it has gone. So it was amazing. Thanks so much.
Oh, that's good. Bless you. Thank you. And self-doubt, yes, thank you. All these things come up, don't they? And, you know, and are amplified during this time. So if we've ever got anything, a little bit of self-doubt or lack of confidence with something, it's really big at the moment because of all what's going on. It's horrible, but it's normal within what's going on for us all. Yeah. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. You must have been being kind to yourself, because when you said I deeply and completely love and accept myself, you was able to do it a bit more today. So lovely. Good. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Lucille.
Am I unmuted? Yeah, I just like to say thank you very much. It was really, really great. And I tapped on self-identity, and it was really interesting when I released that. My emotions straight away went to a nephew who's just been diagnosed with COVID. So he's just been transferred. And yeah, and then it was an interesting thought I had about sometimes I kind of grieve when I lose state. So if I get really angry, when I get triggered, yeah, and then I grieve that. So it was a loss of state. So yeah, it was interesting and really interesting to see all the different types of grieving, which, yeah, I wouldn't have normally put it down to. So thank you for.
Oh, thank you for sharing, and thank you for bringing that up as well, because you know, I think all those different griefs, it's a bit sort of academic, because we feel what we feel, but sometimes it can just help to feel, you know, actually that's what's going on, and it can help a little bit. And thank you as well with the different states and grieving those different states. You know, have a little think about, you know, what is it? What are those feelings? Because they're probably part of a bigger picture of you. Yeah. So those, if you get those old familiar feelings coming up within what's going on at the moment, this is a beautiful time to be able to start shifting those things. Yeah. This time is not nice for anybody, but it is a time we can actually go, right, this is quite chaotic. We can use this chaos as a way of coming through to transform. And that's why I called my book Joy Beyond Grief, because when we're in our perhaps lowest state, our lowest space, a lot of grief, a lot of loss, there's the potential for us to transform. And that's you know, if anybody's lost anybody, you know, that's a beautiful way to honor that loss. It's a beautiful way to honor the loss within ourselves, the identity and doubt as well, to actually use that potential, that energy into something positive, which isn't always easy at the moment. Okay, it's not easy at the moment. But if and when you can, that's great. It's helped keep your vibrations up. So thank you, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. China, you have anything to share? I've unmuted you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janice. And may I say that you look incredibly beautiful.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
I personally cried through the whole session.
Did you?
And I want to ask you two things. So one thing is, when you're grieving, how long does it take to be able to manage your grief properly or be in an okay state?
Yeah, I mean, that unfortunately, that is a sort of the, you know, 1,000,001 question, because we all grieve so differently. You know, people can say up to sort of a year is normal in inverted commas, because we grieve differently. But, you know, it is a process, and it's your individual process. And so it is very difficult to answer that. I know that's not helpful, but it is very difficult to answer. But, you know, each day, if you do a little bit of tapping and a little bit of something positive, and it might be even little rituals to, if it's somebody you've lost, you know, is a step forward in that grieving process, you know. But if you find that you're still really in the thick of grief with lots of emotions and feeling very low and down, you know, sometime after a year, then that, what we were talking about, that complicated grief may be sort of kicking in, and that might be because you haven't dealt with other griefs. So these are important things to bear in mind, you know. But everyone's different, and it's hard to say a time. And I wish, you know, I wish I could. I wish it was a process that I could say it's from then to then and it'll be all right. But it's so very different for different people. I'll just briefly share my example here. Is when my husband died. He just literally had a massive heart attack and died in front of me. No warning or anything. I'd got 2 small children, and the grief that I had from that just went on, and I was still feeling horrendous long after a year, absolutely horrendous. And we realised my dad died when I was 14, and I'd never really grieved. It was sort of in the 80s, and in England in the 80s, grief wasn't really dealt with. Nobody spoke about it, you know. It was just, come on, get on. You know, we've got this saying in England, stiff upper lip, we just carry on. And it's so, once when my husband died, I got a grief on top of a grief. It brought all those old feelings of a 14-year-old back. And to be quite honest with you, I started acting like a 14-year-old again, and it wasn't a pleasant sight to see for a 35-year-old lady. So so that's an example. So it's good for you to have that awareness that if it's really going on for a long period of time, you're grieving. It's still, of course, normal. It just means that perhaps there's some other griefs and other losses that it would be beneficial to look at too, if that helps at all.
It does, thank you. And if you end up going in sort of an eccentric spiral downwards while you're grieving through your variety of emotions. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming tapping is also another way to deal with this, but is there something else you can do to stop yourself right there and then from?
I mean, the tapping is really good, and you know, I do see things in a spiral, and you know, think of it as a spiral of going up as well, because sometimes we feel we're in exactly the same position because we've got those same feelings, but actually if you've done some tapping or something that helps relieve those emotions in that moment or allows them to be, then when you feel like you're exactly where you were, it's almost like you're up another level, but it feels so familiar because it's at the same point. You see what I mean? It sort of comes around there, but then it's upper. So actually a lot of the time we are moving higher in a way, coming through the process without realizing. But grief is waves. It's sort of all right, then it's not all right. If you are struggling with depression, you don't have those waves of feeling all right in between. So that's a very simple, I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't, you know, this is not a back diagnosis, but it's a simple clue for yourselves. If you're feeling that, you know, actually then I had that lovely memory of when we went for a walk or we did that, and then you get sad again, but then you come up again, that's definitely just grief. Grief. Whereas if you're just only feeling at the bottom of a pit all the time, then it's probably likely that some more depression is kicking in as well, and that's normal within what you're experiencing. But it may be that you'd seek some further help with that from perhaps a doctor or something. But there is I know in England and America for sure, there's a movement to medicalize grief. So there is a persistent complex grief disorder now, which really is that ongoing grief. Whether it's a medical condition, that's up to everybody to make their own judgment. But for me, grief is a natural process. But yes, definitely do the tapping. Emotional support is crucial. Have you got somebody there to help and support you? A friend?
Partially.
Sorry.
Partially.
Oh, so I didn't hear that again.
Well, just partially.
All right, okay. So, you know, there's a lot of studies that say that we really do need emotional support through grief. Now, you know, I work with clients that really have nobody, and it's like, how do we find somebody to support them? So, you know, make sure you've got some sort of support is what I would say is really crucial as well. It's really a known thing to have somebody you can just talk to or sit and cry with. But all those massive emotions are really normal.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bless you. And are you okay now?
Yeah, thank you.
Are you sure? Okay.
Archana, Dr. Archana Kumar. Dr. Archana Kumar. Would you like to share something, say something?
Yeah. Hi, Janice.
Hello.
It was beautiful the way you categorized different kind of grief. That was very new for me. I mean, I knew grief, but I mean, so many times you mix up so many emotions with it, and it's so complicated. Beautifully put across. And yes, the tapping was very, very releasing. I was feeling something in my lower back, and the pressure is definitely lighter there. Thank you very much.
Brilliant, and well done, because it's only a little taster in a way, isn't it? But it gives you an idea to move on, and having those shifts is great, and it shows you, do you know, it shows you that it's empowering.
Yeah,
we're more in control than perhaps we realize at the moment.
And when you said that, like, I didn't remember actually, we should be doing it. When you said that we should be tapping on our little issues every day, I think that will be very relieving. I really think so. Thank you very much.
Okay, bless you, and thank you for sharing as well. And you know, there's so many different forms of the grief as well. I didn't go through them all.
I noted down all of them.
Yes, yeah. But I didn't go through all of them today because some of them weren't as related to what's going on at the moment, you know, like, but like the mask grief, you know, grief that we hide, you know, those sort of things, which can be.
I related to the grief that was like exaggerated grief.
Yes.
We see it so much at times, so much.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that it's a kind of grief.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We don't realize that.
No. I think when we do realise it, that in itself is a self-compassionate thing, isn't it? Absolutely. When we realise, you know, this is grief, then I can perhaps be a bit more compassionate about this to myself instead of perhaps getting angry and why am I feeling that, you know. Actually, we can go, no, this is a form of grief and I know grief's really difficult, so I'm going to be a bit kinder to myself. So, yeah, absolutely. But a little bit of tapping each day will go a long way.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bless you. Thank you.
Let's go to the next person. Nika, can you unmute yourself? Nika, are you there? Okay. Let's go to Binaifa. Are you there? Okay. Renu? Binaifa, are you there?
Yes, Anu, no question. I couldn't do the tapping, but I'm enjoying the talk. Thank you so much. And I had done tapping for my son who had the severe toothache last week. And after just one round, his toothache had completely gone and he was so excited that now he keeps doing it every day on his own. So that's just something really amazing. So thank you.
Bless you. That's really lovely. You know, I'm okay just to share a quick story, Anu.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
There's a lovely lady that I met whose son had quite a lot of physical problems with his bowels. You know, he's having a lot of trouble going to the toilet, and it was from a young age. I mean, very serious stuff like not going to the toilet for like a month and things. So like very serious with his bowel movements and his stomach. And he was only little lad, and I've got 100% permission to share this because she's, you know, it's just a lovely story. And he used to come and he didn't ever want to talk about it, so I used to be doing little tapping games, running, because I've got my therapy room here, running around my garden with him. We were tapping and playing games just to help him to try and express some of the emotions around what was going on. And he started learning the tapping, and him and his mum used to do the tapping, used to tap every night. And then what I also do is work surrogately. So I actually then did some work with his mum to help him, and he wasn't there. So she remembers one day when she'd taken him to the doctors and they had an examination that really she wasn't expecting. It was all a bit, you know, not really sure what went on there. It was a bit distressing for her. It was definitely distressing for her son. So we did some of the matrix work, which is a little bit more of a progression on from EFT if you don't know it. And we did some work surrogately for him because she suddenly said, oh, I just remember that horrible time at the doctor's. It was this terrible day, this thing happened. So we did a load of clearing. That night in their little session together, he actually brought that memory up. She hadn't said a thing to him about this particular event. And that night when she went to do her tapping, she said, what should we tap on? And he said, do you remember, Mummy, when we went to the doctors, I got very frightened. Now, he brought that up himself. A coincidence? I don't think so. But, you know, she hadn't said anything to him. And that memory come up. So she was then able to help him surrogately by tapping on herself with me, but then also on her son as well. So with children, tapping is amazing. And it can be, and they love it. They just get on with it and do it, you know. And I work with quite a few little people now. I work in a family crisis centre where people have got issues within the family, and we have the little children that come along and we do our little tapping rhyme, and then they do loads of different tapping for their different feelings. And it really helps children to be able to express their emotions and how they're feeling when perhaps they haven't been able to before. So it's a lovely thing to be able to do. Tap with your family. You know, I tap with, my girls are both grown up now, but sometimes we'll sit there and tap together. So, you know, it's something that you can all do and share as well. Oh, hello. There's a young person there I can see in the top corner. Hello.
Let's go to the next person. Shamla. Shamla, would you like to ask something? Sana? Shahina?
Anu, yeah,
Yes.
I would like to say something. Very firstly, happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the mother inside us also. Happy Mother's Day to her. Secondly, it's a very wonderful session. Janice, you even said to me, what are you doing for yourself? You know. So basically, in this lockdown, I am actually working out. I am, taking out time for myself. I'm trying to understand what, what life is, what I left behind, and this is what I'm learning. And yes, by the EFT tapping, I came out with so much of emotions which was actually stuck. It was really amazing. Thank you so much. It was
thank you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. And well done. And thank you as well, because this is an opportunity. I think, if we go big in terms of our human development together and our evolution, it is a time for us to reflect, and there's a lot of things falling away that we realise weren't important now, isn't there? Where we're realising what is important now. Absolutely. It's almost, it could almost be seen as like a recalibration of humans in a way, couldn't it? We're all recalibrating to what is important, what is important to us all as a species, as our world and our families, and it can be seen as that. Allow those moments to come around the fear and the other losses and things as well, because that is important. And yes, happy Mother's Day to you. It's not Mother's Day here, so I'm going to join in with that, and I'm going to have that happy Mother's Day as well. Do you mind?
Because we have a mother inside ourselves, so we should have always, acknowledge that. And
absolutely.
Thank our mother inside.
That's a good point as well. Absolutely. But I'm definitely joining in. I'm going to be an honorary Indian lady for the day, if that's all right. And I'm going to join in. I have 2 daughters, so I have 2 daughters, and my little dog that I'm mother to as well. So I shall join with the Mother's Day celebrations there.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go to next person, Shahina. You have anything to share or say, Shahina? Okay, Sana Vadwa, Dr. Manorama, Sumita, Mendirata.
No, but a lovely session.
Who was that?
Shahina.
Shahina. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
Sumita? Yes.
Thank you, Janice. It was a nice session. I joined in late, but definitely the tapping is, I always do it like you say, do it every day. So I have been doing it and it really benefits. Thank you so much.
Yeah, oh bless you, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. A little bit every day is simple, isn't it? I've got a friend who has a bath every day, and that's what she does. She taps in the bath every day. People tap in the shower, or when you've had your morning breakfast or whatever you do, you can just do a little bit just to clear, just a little bit of, because the thing is, we often try and avoid our feelings that we don't like. We're trying to push them away and get on with our day. And whereas if you just go, I'm going to acknowledge and respect those feelings for a little while, and I'm going to tap on them, and then I'm going to go about my day. It's your body's going to thank you for that. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much. Sana, you have anything to share?
Hi, ma'am. Yeah, I just wanted to know, thank you very much for addressing my question. I'm the one who, still miss my brother because he passed away last month.
Right.
And I'll continue doing this tapping. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry. Please don't be sorry. Have a little tap as you're talking there for me. Yeah,
I really miss him. I really miss him.
Yeah, and you will, and our grief and our sadness when we lose somebody is a reflection of that love you had for him. Yeah.
I don't know, ma'am, how I'll get over this, but I'm surely going to try this, ma'am.
Yeah, you know, and don't even see it as getting over it, you know, just see each day as it comes and deal with the feelings that you've got. And when you can, just have those feelings that of that love towards him that you've always had and always will be there. You can't break a love bond, whatever's going on. So that love that you've got between you will always be there. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Bless you. Take care, okay, and do some tapping.
Yes, ma'am. One last question. While doing tapping, what should we say, ma'am, while doing tapping?
For yourself, okay, this is specifically for you because it's very raw at the moment, your loss, yeah? Literally just tap on how you feel. So if in one moment you feel sad, you just say this sadness, and then if it turns to something else, this anger, this heartbreak, or it might be this pain in your chest, just go with whatever you're feeling, okay? So it's like just doing some real tapping with the feelings in the moment, because that's just allowing your body to allow itself to settle and be as calm and restful as it can be in this difficult time for you. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Just tap in with any feelings that you're experiencing, okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You take care.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Big hugs to you. Dr. Manorama, you have anything to share? Okay, I have something to share with all of you right now. So if we can just hang on.
Anu, I'm here.
Yes.
Sorry, I could not correct. The internet was very bad today, but I could get some glimpses of the process, and I'll definitely go through the recording and listen to the whole process again. Thank you so much, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you can watch the replay, can't you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just
Thank
going to
you.
put on a small movie that we've created. Just give me a minute. And share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Happy Mother's Day to Mom. एक पोयम लिखा है मैंने आप लोगों के लिए.
These are all people who've been attending workshops.
माँ प्यारी माँ, हर रूप में हो आप, हर सांस में हो आप, बचपन से बुढ़ापे तक हर बात में हो आप. माँ,
she's talking about her mother.
जब गोद में सिर रखना हो, जब नींद में लोरी सुननी हो, नींद भूख भूल जाती हो, अपने प्यारे हाथों से हमें सहलाती हो. माँ प्यारी माँ, हर रूप में हो आप, हर सांस में हो आप, दिल के हर कोने में आवाज आपकी, मन की हर धड़कन में खनकार आपकी. माँ प्यारी माँ, हर रूप में हो आप, हर सांस में हो आप. यूं ही दिल की घंटी बजाती रहो, यूं ही अपना हाथ सिर पर हमेशा सहलाती रहो. खुद भी जीना सीखो जो जीना हमें सिखाती हो, खुद भी हंसना सीखो जो रोकर हमें हंसाती हो. माँ प्यारी माँ, हर रूप में हो आप, हर सांस में हो आप. मुस्कुराती रहो माँ, खिलखिलाती रहो माँ, मुस्कुराती रहो माँ, खिलखिलाती रहो माँ. ईश्वर को जो जाना तो तुमको देखा माँ. माँ प्यारी माँ, हर सांस में हो आप, हर रूप में हो आप. माँ प्यारी माँ.
Happy Mother's Day from me and Amy and from all of us who you have taken care of so beautifully and helped us live our lives back. Love you lots.
Samara, what are you reading?
Oh, my lesson was very good.
Okay.
Mama, what
Right, Samaya? No, I just want to know our age difference. Our age difference is not important. You know, our relationship has the same age. How, Mama? The day I became a mother, you were born, that is my mother age. The day you were born is of same age. Oh, thank you, Mama. Happy Mother's Day. And Happy Mother's Day to all the mommies in the world. Love you, Mama.
Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. I love you. I love you from the bottom.
Hello. We wish you all Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. That was all the students had put it together. So I just compiled it and said, so the carrots at the end was a ceremony that one of the moms says that every year.
भारतीय साहित्य में जनचेत.
Okay, so I believe every year her daughter sends her berries and carrots. That's the ceremony. And so she sent the photograph of the berries and the carrots, which actually reached her, and she's staying somewhere in Munich, and her daughter, despite the lockdown, sent all these things to her. So that was the photograph, and that's why I put it in. So thank you so much for today's session, but stay back. We're going to have a card session right now. And Binaifa, one of the moms, she does beautiful card reading. So Binaifa, are you ready, my dear? Binaifa?
Yes, Anu, yes, sorry. I couldn't unmute myself. Sorry. Sorry.
It's called the technical glitches.
My kids were here because they wanted to see themselves. So they kept asking me, where are the other kids? Why can't we see them? I said, please have patience, let them come. So now everyone ran out of the room.
Thank you. So Janice, you've done such a wonderful job of giving us joy beyond grief. And we would like to send some joy back to you in form of beautiful reading that Binaifa does. So this is for you, especially today, and for all the happiness to come your way.
Bless you. Thank you so much. That's so lovely.
So hi Janice, thank you so much for the wonderful session.
Oh.
And of late, I've really fallen in love with tapping. I used to do it a lot earlier, but somehow it's just like reinvented itself in my life. I'm really enjoying it. So thank you for bringing it back again today. Thank you so much.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for being part of it, and thank you for the little treat.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to hang out with you guys more often.
That's a nice thought. I'll take you on that one.
You do, please do.
Yeah.
I do perhaps my compassion work that I do. That's quite a good workshop.
Yeah. Okay.
So the two cards I picked for you, the first one is Angel Akasha, who is saying you are a spiritual teacher. You have the ability to counsel others and help them awaken their spiritual gifts and divine life mission.
Oh.
So you are doing that. So that's a wonderful job you're doing. The second card is Angel Carissa, who is saying you are at the end of a cycle in your life. Call upon your angels to comfort you and guide you to your next step. Happiness awaits you now. So this has come in the reverse. So you just need to work on it and just be a little patient, because things are going to improve and get better for you. Thank you.
Thank you. And what cards are they? What cards?
So I have mixed two of Doreen Virtue cards.
All right, yeah.
So one are the Archangel cards. Which,
yeah. Lovely. Yeah,
and the other one is the back of them is like this. So these are the angel cards. I'm sorry, I don't have the main box
lovely.
right now, but yeah, I've mixed two packs and they give wonderful readings together.
Oh, that's beautiful. That was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate that. That was very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so true as well, actually. You know, that first card, oh, that's lovely, isn't it? And the second card, it was just like, yeah, I am doing some changes in my work a little bit. It definitely resonates. I understand.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Let's go for Sunita.
Sunita, any questions?
Sunita, any questions? Sunita, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
So 2 cards just popped out, and one card is talking about something which has come back from the past. So maybe today while tapping, some incident, some emotional incident from the past has come up for you again, which needs to be resolved, which needs to be dealt with, because it's not a very happy memory that's come up for you. So you need to resolve it. And the second one is, if you're afraid or if you are unsure of certain finances or some financial decision at the moment, you just need to take care and deviate your mind from these poverty consciousness thoughts and thoughts of lack, which could be in any aspect, either finances or relationships, in any way. So just try to move away from that and be emotionally strong. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sneezing.
Bless you. Bless you.
Let's go to the next question, Lucille. Let's read for her and for her nephew who is not feeling well.
Okay. Lucille, any questions for you?
Yeah, I think maybe just a general reading.
Okay. Lucille, are you comfortable in your house? I'm sorry, but I'm asking you this totally out of context.
Okay, that's interesting. So not really. I'm in between moves and I'm staying with my sister. So
but at the house you are currently in, are you comfortable? Because I don't want to say it because I know it's being recorded. I'm feeling a presence at your place. So
yeah, it's quite challenging because I don't have my own space and I'm feeling quite limited. So I'm having to sort of restrict myself and really get into such a small little space, so I'm not able to shine my light. So yeah, so it's very challenging. And then obviously with the lockdown, and it's so it's difficult.
So just do some space clearing energetically, because I feel there's a presence, like an energy, external energy where you're staying. So I feel need to do that. Yeah, that's why I asked you, are you comfortable staying there? Because I'm feeling a presence. While I'm reading your cards, I could feel and sense something. That's why I asked you. And I normally wouldn't have said it, but it was too strong not to tell you. So
It's very interesting because as you say that, strong energy, quite like a strong resistance, like a heaviness,
Yeah. So
and
maybe
I have feeling a heaviness. Interesting you say that.
Yeah. So just do some space clearing around yourself. Maybe you can just sage it out, or use
definitely. So that's really interesting you say that, because I have been feeling not myself and challenged by something, but not really from inside, but definitely something from the outside. So coming in my space all the time and I'm wanting to do this, get away. So I have been experiencing that, definitely.
Okay. So there's something new showing up for you as far as work is concerned. Mentally, you are going to get stronger, and because of that, you might start something new, some new venture. So that is on the cards. And I intuitively picked up an angel card for you as well. So the card that came up was Angel Rosetta, who is saying you have a gift for working with young people, and your divine purpose involves helping, teaching, or parenting children.
Okay. Yeah, I have been adopted homeschooling, which has been causing me to think, oh, should I be doing this? Or that's the identity loss. So thank you. Thank you for the space clearing, because that's very interesting that came up.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That really helped.
Thank you. Sorry, Anu, but I just couldn't
Don't be
help
sorry.
myself.
I mean, this is
No,
about
I appreciate that. So
absolutely. We are all very
absolutely fine
open-minded.
with that. So
So
thank
there are
you.
no sorries right now. Let's read for Sana, who's lost her brother. And Sana, I'm going to do a little reading for you on the other side after Vinayaka completes her reading.
Okay, so Sana, I picked up two cards for you. One was a tarot card and one was an angel card. And the angel card is about life review, Archangel Jeremiah, who is saying that take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. So it's a beautiful card to get right now because you are feeling a bit unbalanced. And just take it upon yourself as a challenge to heal this and come out as a stronger person. And the tarot card is also talking about that right now there is some sort of disbalance mentally in your life, and just try and stay strong for yourself, because you don't want to destroy yourself from within. You have to be strong within and come out a winner, which you will. There's no doubt in that. So stay strong. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can't hear you, Anu. Anu, I can't hear you, Anu.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me when I should stop shuffling the cards? Sana?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to pick up 3 cards from a new pack which is called Talking to the Heaven.
Okay.
This is message from your brother to you.
Okay.
Cards for you. First, he says, as a soul, I can be in several places at once.
Oh. Ma'am, so he's with me also, right?
Yes. Earth is our school. And this, he says, tears cleanse our soul. So it's okay to cry. He's giving you permission to express. I'm picking up 2 more cards.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
He says, I'm surrounded here by loving animals.
Oh.
What does that mean to you?
I really don't understand, ma'am.
It's okay. He says, I'm with the rest of the family. That's where I close.
Oh.
Yes.
He must be with my grandmother.
Yes. And he stays with her.
Ma'am, last month my brother lost my brother's best friend last month, 5th March, he passed away, and he was extremely close to my brother, and 5th April, exactly after that 1 month, my brother left us. I don't know how is that connection. Both were 41 years of age and bestest friend. They were like brothers.
Vinayaka, can you pull out 2 cards for the connection, please?
Sure.
My husband was actually 41 when he passed away as well.
Wow. Can I pull out a few cards for you, Janice? Do I have your permission?
Absolutely, definitely. Thank you.
Vinayfa, you go ahead.
Yeah, just.
And Sana as well, look for little connection signs, you know. There's always people that we've loved that have passed. They've always given us little signs, but sometimes our sadness and that sort of is in front of those signs and we can't see them. So in those moments when you do feel calmer, just be aware if there are any little signs that is showing you. There will be signs, but it's not always easy to see when one's, you know, feeling.
Absolutely.
So I'm getting that it was karmic, that they were meant to go together, and that didn't happen, so it happened one after another, and they were meant to share some burden together. And yeah, so it was just meant to be. It was just meant to be.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So I'm pulling out 3 cards for Janice's husband right now. Let me know when I should stop shuffling.
Okay, stop there.
3 cards. Tell me when I should stop shuffling.
Okay.
And the last card.
Okay, there.
He says you're never alone.
Yeah, I know that. I do know that. I never feel alone. I always feel he's with me. And, you know, if that's one thing I can say to you as well, Senna, that, you know, it's so difficult when it's so raw, but you'll soon really realise that you're never alone. I feel like that. So I'm further down the journey than you, but I never feel alone from my husband now. So it's a long time ago now.
And he says I'm surrounded by loving animals.
I certainly am. I've got the most gorgeous little dachshund dog here that's brings me so much love. And all my birds in the mornings, I've got lots of little birds that I feed outside. So yes, definitely.
And the last one, he's saying I'm helping you.
Yeah, I can believe that too. So thank you for that lovely reconfirmation of that, because that is beautiful. Thank you, Anu. Bless you.
Thank you. Let's do a last card reading, and then for the whole group. Let's do it for Renu. Renu, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any question, Renu, or should I go ahead?
No, no question. You can go ahead.
Okay, so Renu, you right now is a good time for you emotionally. You will bond with the people who you want to bond with. So make maximum use of this time, and try to be away from people who are trying to be a dictator towards you and trying to force their views, their thoughts upon you, and telling you that no, this is how it has to be and this is how you have to do it. So stay away from such people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
If we can have a whole group reading, and that's where...
Yes. Anu, one request. Please pick up the heaven cards. Want a message from my grandmom.
Sure.
Because today is Mother's Day and really miss her.
Anybody else who wants, I still feel as if somebody else wants me to read. If anybody's passed on, I could do it for you. Yeah.
I know I too somehow felt, like I should ask you about my father-in-law and my mother-in-law.
Okay. Your grandmom saying Earth is our school, I'm not dead, and I'm here helping you.
How sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
Yeah, and let's pick up for your mother-in-law first. I just feel one card is required, so I'm not going to pick up. She says, I send your family loving signs through nature every day.
Right.
And I'm picking up for your father-in-law. He says, I feel happy and healthy. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, Anu.
You're most welcome.
Anu ma'am, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Ma'am, you said about my brother that he's surrounded by lovely animals. So my brother-in-law, he keeps experiencing the same, not different bird, the same bird coming to his balcony every day, where he never saw those kind of birds ever coming before my brother left us.
Yeah, quite possible.
Is it possible that?
Sana, he's saying to you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, but I couldn't stay back. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
You know, Anu, as well, talking about birds, you know, my partner used to have fly buzzards and, you know, the great big birds of prey. And when he passed away one day, I remember not long after he passed away, I said, oh, you just let me know you're here. And I was going to work, and as I went round, I live in the countryside, and as I went round this corner, there was a big buzzard sat on the first telegraph. I moved on, there was another buzzard on the second telegraph pole, and on the third telegraph pole there was another buzzard. There was 3 buzzards. That's quite unusual on 3 telegraph poles. So I think animals are definitely, we're all just one, aren't we, you know, there to show us signs as well. So I'm sure that's true of what Sana was saying there as well.
And this is from my mom, who's there on the group. Bless her. She's been attending calls. And this is from her husband, my father. And he's saying to her the same thing, that I'm sending you loving signs through me every day. And tears are a good cleanser for the soul. She hasn't allowed herself to cry. And he says, I have a new understanding over here. I'm picking up the last card, Mom. Oh my, bless him. He's saying, I'm learning over here. I'm learning new things. Good night for the whole group.
Yes. So I have picked up one tarot card, one angel card for the entire group.
Yes.
The tarot card says that we should walk away from emotional situations that no longer serve our higher purpose. And the time has come, most of us are going to do it, whether it's an emotional relationship or an emotional situation that no longer holds good for us. And the best thing to do is walk away from such situations. The angel card talks about spreading our wings. Archangel Ariel, who is saying, do not hold back right now. The timing is perfect and you are ready to soar.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And we just stop the recording and then play the song. Otherwise, YouTube keeps putting the copyright story there. So